A troubling new UN report warned this week that the world has just 12 years to avoid the catastrophic consequences of climate change. The Paris Accord committed to limiting global warming to no more than 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, but already we're 1 degree above. The report blames that for some destructive weather events, heat waves, heavy rain, floods, and forest fires. It says we have to be carbon neutral by 2050, and governments need to be more aggressive in fighting climate change. This is where we bring in Danielle Smith from Global News Radio, 770 CHQR. To continue this conversation, Danielle, can we turn things around in time, or should I start building my bunker now?
You know what's so interesting about the IPCC reports is that they are always getting more and more aggressive about what it is that governments and consumers have to do to be able to ward off catastrophe. And yet we have made zero progress since 1997 when governments first started making these commitments. And so part of what is going on, I think, is twofold. Number one, Donald Trump, one of his first actions was to say, yeah, whatever about the Paris Accord, we're not living up to it. That would be the first thing. But the second is that what we're seeing is that consumers are just not cooperating. We're every single year, we keep seeing an increase in the amount of CO2 emissions, and yet we keep hearing that we have to have increasingly dramatic declines. So I'm beginning to wonder whether or not there is the political will or even the will of the general public. I'm wondering in some ways whether or not people even believe the IPCC predictions. The predictions of catastrophe have been around now since the 1980s. And when you go back and look at what they were predicting back then, none of it's panned out. So the question is, have the environmentalists overplayed their hand? Have they now gone to a point where you've got the public thinking, well, we've gone so far, there's nothing we can do about it anyway, and so people are just continuing on with their behavior. So this is the real problem. None of us will really know what the outcome is going to be in 2050 until we're in 2050. And the report is strange in this respect, that it strikes this catastrophic tone, but it's also very gloomy about whether or not it believes that governments are going to do anything about it. So we're going to explore this a little bit today. Got someone coming on from Environmental Defense who is quite concerned that the catastrophe is just around the corner, and Ross McKittrick, who does a different type of analysis on whether or not the computer models and the projections are even accurate. So we're going to explore it from both sides today.
It is a very big conversation to have for sure. Thanks for this, Danielle.
My pleasure.